Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, October 21, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like here recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020. And we can see that we are somewhere right here, falling down the hill in terms of Atlantic hurricane or storm activity. We can definitely have some things happening before we wrap up the month of October and head into early November for sure, before all is said and done and we flatline as we head into December. So we need to ensure that we all stay alert. If we take a look at the October 21 to 31 tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin and tracks, we can definitely see that all of these yellow dots represent where we've had something formed during this time frame, these 11 days, October 21 to 31. And this is based on data from 1851 to 2023. So these are all of the storms that have formed between that time frame within these 11 days in general. And we see that there are a lot of activity, there's a lot of activity that takes place across the Western Caribbean to the south of Jamaica for sure, portion of the Bahamas, some a part of the Gulf of Mexico, and even across the open waters of the Atlantic. And we can still get systems forming out here across the main development region too. And if we take a look at the typical tracks, as usual, it's usually somewhere across the Western Caribbean and then pushing northward, maybe across Florida into portion of the northern Bahamas, some of the Gulf of Mexico definitely in play, some of the southwestern Atlantic as well. We just have to pay close attention. Hopefully there's nothing more coming. If anything is coming, more so tropical waves or I don't know, troughs to bring us more rainfall than anything else. Not tropical depressions, not tropical storms. We don't want anything like that at all. If we take a look at the latest sea surface temperature anomalies, so this is showing the warm above normal sea surface temperatures across the Atlantic and the eastern to the central Pacific right there. And we can see all of the warm water being represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that this is as of the latest update that just came out yesterday, October 20. And we can still see that the entire Atlantic is definitely above normal. Look at all of the oranges. Definitely capable of sustaining some strong systems and developing them. And considering that the water is so warm, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some more systems before all is said and done regarding hurricane season. And the La Nina is definitely coming on nicely. We know La Nina has to do with the cooling down of the sea surface temperatures across the eastern to the central Pacific. Not sure if it has already been officially declared. Last I heard, it was a neutral-like pattern, and it was this neutral-like pattern that brought us Beryl, because we know a lack of El Nino when we have warm water across these areas would have caused more rising air, more thunderstorms, more storms, and that would have in turn caused more wind shear across the Atlantic, tearing all of the tops of these thunderstorms off. But with the lack of El Nino, we saw what neutral conditions brought. It brought us Beryl, which shocked across the Caribbean, affected Jamaica, and then pushed into Texas. And we see what the hurricane season has been spitting out ever since Beryl. So even neutral-like patterns can definitely cause bad weather. If we're not already in a La Nina, that would be even more favorable for Atlantic development. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that it's not only about how warm the waters are at the surface or at the skin of the ocean, but the waters are warm even at a greater depth. This map is showing the tropical cyclone heat potential and showing how warm the waters are the further we go deeper into the ocean. And we see a lot of yellows, oranges, reds. Look at all of these dark reds across a portion of the greater Antilles in and around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, east of the Yucatan Peninsula and Belize. And if we get a system to stall out in one of these spots, it's just going to be churning up even more warm water and developing even more. So we have to pay close attention as we wrap up the hurricane season in general. And keep in mind that this is as of the latest update, October 21. It was showing October 1 for the longest time. So glad that it's updating. Now I heard something about the reason why there was a lack of data was because Helene affected some kind of data center up into a portion of the southeastern United States. So we're back, everything is back to normal. Alright, if we take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:45 p.m. Jamaica time. So this one just came out almost 30 minutes ago. We can see that the only area of disturbed weather is Tropical Storm Oscar right there. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images of Oscar, we can see that it is not really looking as impressive as it once was over the weekend. We saw a lot of thunderstorms associated with it now. All of the thunderstorms definitely being sheared off to the east. And all of this has to do with the fact that it's definitely across land. It's somewhere right here across Cuba. And we know once we get these low-level areas across land, they're definitely going to be struggling. They need the warm water in order to survive. And there are a lot of tall mountains across the southeastern portions of Cuba right here. So it all makes sense as to why Oscar has been dwindling in terms of intensity. But we can definitely make out some thunderstorms right here across the southern portions of Cuba, the southern portions of eastern Cuba. Definitely bring some thunderstorms to portion of the Guantanamo Bay naval area for sure. And we can even make out some thunderstorms right there to the south of Haiti. Some thunderstorms still affecting portions of the southern Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos as we speak. If we take a look at the very latest regarding the statistics on Oscar, he is moving towards the north-northeast at 7 miles per hour. And there is a tropical storm warning up still for portions of eastern Cuba, section of the central to the southern Bahamas. And it's expected to move all the way out of here and start moving quickly as we head into Thursday. It should be right here to the west of Bermuda by 2 a.m. on Thursday. As of right now, it's packing maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. That makes it a low-end tropical storm. So it's right there at the edge of tropical depression and tropical storm. We know that tropical storm have winds of anywhere from 39 to 73 miles per hour. So it's definitely a low-end tropical storm. It's closer to tropical depression status right now rather than closer to hurricane or category 1 status. And we're indeed grateful that it's definitely dwindling, but we know that once it gets back over water, it's definitely going to be a re-strengthening. Wouldn't be surprised if we see it even bumped up to hurricane status. That's if the wind shear is not that hefty. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have numerous troughs as represented by these broken orange lines across portions of the northern section of North Atlantic, another trough right here across portions of Puerto Rico, another trough with an area of low pressure attached to it across portions of the Bahamas, a tropical wave passing to the south of Jamaica, a tropical wave to the east of the Caribbean, and another tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands, equidistant from Africa and the northern or northeastern section of South America. And to the north, as usual, we have a ridgified pressure that's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with the easterly trade winds, we have these tropical waves pushing from east to west, not to mention the dust from off of the Sahara as well. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities, the numerous troughs plaguing the northern portions of the North Atlantic for sure. the tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean. Lots of moisture associated with it, especially as it's being sheared as we speak. We can definitely see the high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the east for sure. And we can make out that other tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands, as well as the moisture associated with the other tropical wave across the waters to the south of Jamaica. Barely there, but it is somewhere in there. And we can see the leftover clouds from what was once tropical storm Oscar right there, definitely dwindling as we speak. Some moisture heading into portion of Central America right now. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, October 21, 2024. It was stated that parts of northern Jamaica would have received rainfall last night into early Monday morning, and that would have received some afternoon rainfall mainly across sections of some central and eastern parishes during Monday afternoon. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. And what ended up happening? As early as 9:55 p.m., a post was made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we definitely saw the infrared satellite imagery being posted last night at around 9:55 p.m. and they highlighted a lot of cloud cover across the island in general. But where we had most of the thunderstorms is across a portion of some northern parishes, just as predicted. Sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, we see these sparkling yellow dots that will now represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. We see the high cold cloud tops, the reds, the oranges, the blacks. Definitely affecting portion of Trelawney for sure. St. James, maybe section of Hanover got in on the mix as well. So that indeed confirms the rainfall, and I'll definitely show you some comments a little later on confirming the rainfall in those areas. And if we take a look at another post that was made at around 3:21 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted, and it highlighted some clouds bringing some overcast skies, if not isolated showers, to portions of St. Elizabeth, sections of Clarendon, section of St. Catherine, southern and eastern St. Anne, sections of St. Mary, and sections of Portland got on some amount of overcast skies and isolated showers before the day was all said and done. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see that flow. We had more of a northerly kind of flow across the northwestern portion of the island, more of a southeast or southwesterly kind of flow across the southern and eastern sides, just as predicted in yesterday's video regarding the wind forecast. You can definitely see these clouds pushing out of Portland from the southwest, and we definitely had all of that air piling up across sections of some southwestern and central into the northeastern portion of the island, just as predicted in yesterday's video. And we saw the high cold cloud tops being sheared off towards the south for the most part, and even the latest infrared satellite images are still picking up some amount of rainfall across portions of St. Catherine, maybe sections of St. Andrew as well. And if we take a look at what was taking place on the Halfway Tree cam, we can see right here, this is a live stream of Halfway Tree from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel. They show live streams of the panoramic view, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor, Flatbridge, you name it, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out when they put up some cameras in your neighborhood. So we can see on the Halfway Tree camera at around 4:19 p.m. definitely in the clear, persons walking about doing their business, vehicles driving by going about their business. Definitely dry conditions for the most part, even although we can't make out the sunshine. Definitely cloudy conditions for the afternoon, but definitely dry conditions as well. And if we take a look at what was happening right here regarding the comments from some of our followers on our Facebook page. We had Sylvia Bando stating it's raining with thunder now outside in St. Anne. We also had Kyle Sim stating a lightning just flash a brownstone, that all. Angelique Francis stating Westmoreland is getting drizzle rain. And even right here we had Esther Retsy stating raining in St. Mary. And even on our Instagram page we had a comment coming in from Lisa_Shardy stating just got some rain in Mobi, and that was posted 20 hours ago. So more than likely that was last night when we were getting that rainfall, just to confirm the rainfall in those spots. And if we take a look at the latest still image, that's from the Weather Nerd side. Let's see the latest infrared. We can still make out some whites that represent some high clouds, maybe some cirrus clouds, but we can also make out some colors right here across portion of St. Andrew and St. Catherine. And I definitely matched it to what we were seeing on the Cuban Doppler radar images. We can see right here the greens, the yellows that represent some moderate to slightly heavy rainfall for sure. Definitely affecting portion of St. Catherine as we speak, maybe section of St. Andrew getting in on the mix. Let's see if we reload these images, if we have the very latest showing what's happening right now. Alright, so the time is now 7:22 p.m. so let us see what we're gonna be seeing. Alright, so the latest image is as of 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:20 p.m. Jamaica time. So this one just came out 2 minutes ago. We can still make out that rainfall. The greens represent some isolated showers, more so across northern and northeastern St. Catherine, maybe section of western St. Andrew getting in on the mix as well. And we even saw a little band of rainfall right there to the east of Portland, some rainfall right there to the south of St. Thomas for sure. And if we take a look at the latest Guantanamo Bay Naval Radar Station radar, we can see that we have some rainfall. All of this definitely dissipating as we speak. Leftovers from Oscar, definitely some heavy rainfall coming into where we have the radar site. Look at the yellows, look at the oranges. Definitely some heavy rainfall coming into where the radar is located. Hopefully it doesn't go down. We can see more so the blues and the greens represent some light to moderate rainfall for the most part. Some of it right there off to the east of Portland, just like what we saw on the Cuban radar. And some rainfall right there across portions of Haiti as well. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar, not seeing much happening. Just some sprinkles right there to the south of Grand Cayman. And that's just about it. But if we take a look at the Barbican camera, we can see that the road kind of looks a bit wet. Yes, they were definitely getting some amount of rainfall, some isolated showers a bit earlier. I think it was about an hour ago, and I definitely saw some persons walking with their umbrellas, some vehicles with their windshield wipers on. So they were definitely getting in on some amount of isolated, maybe some light rainfall. Here we go. There's somebody with her umbrella out. We definitely have some cars pushing by with their windshield wipers on. So we definitely had some rainfall at around 7:01 p.m. But as of right now, definitely cooling down for the most part. Starting to dry out. We can see these dry patches on the street as well. And that indeed confirms the rainfall across portion of the corporate area as we speak, given the current weather pattern. And if we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can still have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18D on Tuesday when calculated. That's 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded for the most part in some slight yellow colors. That we can see by the key on the right, that represents up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of October are about 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and when calculated, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So given the 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature rise for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday, it should be anywhere from 31 to 32 at most. And we know the drill. If it's too hot for you tomorrow, try your very best to beat the heat with these tips. I cannot stress enough how important it is to be eating fresh fruit. Try eating cold food such as salads and fruits. You can't go wrong with watermelons, apples, grapes. Always ensure that you stay indoors and make use of fans and AC. And Stay hydrated. Drink lots of water throughout the day. Don't only drink it when you're thirsty. Keep yourself hydrated all the time. And try your very best to drink more water than sugar drinks than anything else. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we can make out all the browns that represent that dust from Africa's desert. Look at all of that stretching all the way across the main development region into the central Caribbean. Definitely going to be getting a break with the moisture from the tropical wave across portion of the Windward Islands tomorrow for sure. But we still see a lot of browns across portion of the Leeward Islands, section of the Central Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, the ABC Islands, northern Venezuela getting in some of the mix. But what we're glad about is that it's not that vigorous of a plume. We know the vigorous plumes actually have some dark shades of browns that we know can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of asthma or sinusitis issues in certain people. And we're just glad that the more west it goes, the more it's going to be dwindling. It's definitely going to be making it to the Jamaica area by about Wednesday for sure. Jamaica is right here. 2 p.m. on Tuesday has it right there to the east of us. So more than likely it's going to be across Jamaica by Wednesday. Hopefully we don't even notice the hazy skies, but we might just notice it in some cases. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, both the Euro and the GFS models are showing those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues across the Gulf of Mexico into the Caribbean. That will represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights all the way up to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the wind, especially across where we have Jamaica, not gonna be that strong at all. We see the winds across the Western Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico, more so from the northeast or from the east-northeast, from the east to the southeast across the southern, or well, the eastern and central Caribbean for sure. Jamaica's area not really getting in on that strong wind. Or tomorrow at all, we see more blues than anything else that represent anywhere from 0 to 5 knots. But regarding the close-up of Jamaica, because we know the wind direction and wind speeds have a lot to do with Jamaica's weather in general. So definitely an interesting pattern. This is what we're talking about. So we see more of a northerly flow still across portion of the northwestern section of the island. More of a southerly flow coming into portion of southern Jamaica. And look where we have the least amount of wind. Across portions of some northern parishes. That's where we're going to be having the least amount of wind. So more than likely, that's what's going to be happening. Tomorrow we're going to be having that daytime heating or that diurnal convection. Especially across northern parishes for sure. Where all of those low-level clouds from the south definitely going to be piling up across those spots, bringing some rainfall. When they become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds, definitely lashing portions of maybe St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, maybe Westmoreland getting in on the mix. We'll see how all of that plays out. And with the upper-level winds coming in more so from the north, definitely going to be clashing, but could be bringing more overcast skies to section of some southern parishes if we get some thunderstorms being blown off to that direction. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time. And we kind of have a bit of consensus that there's going to be some blues that represent rainfall. Maybe across sections of Clarendon, Manchester, maybe section of St. Elizabeth at that time. 9 a.m. We see that on both the Euro and the GFS models, and that's what we look for. We look for consensus on both maps, and that's where we see some morning rainfall. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe that rainfall is coming in from the south across those spots. Kind of makes sense. But look at the afternoon now. The Euro a bit too robust with the rainfall across most parishes as we see all of the blues there. But the GFS making more sense. Look at where the rainfall is more so concentrated. Across mainly sections of some northern and western parishes for sure. This makes more sense. It's definitely a section of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, maybe section of St. Elizabeth getting in on some amount of rainfall. So it's more so northern and western parishes in Jamaica. And we see the consensus on the Euro. Definitely those same areas shaded in blue. But what we don't see on the GFS is these spots. Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew, Portland, and St. Thomas. So we're just going to be working with what both maps are showing in general. Definitely northern and western Jamaica, that's where all of the air is going to be piling up, especially across the north. So look out, even that viewer who stated that there was only lightning or thunder in Brownstown, it's definitely coming your way for sure. Look at these darker shades of blues. Definitely some heavy rainfall. And the year is definitely in consensus with that heavy rainfall for northern Jamaica as well, with the darker blues, even some greens in there, right there on the border of St. Mary and St. Anne. So it's definitely going to be some heavy rainfall for sure for St. Anne tomorrow. And even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that the most rainfall within the next 24 hours will be across portion of northern Jamaica. Both maps from the Euro and the GFS right here are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. I'm not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the spots that are going to be picking up the most in the way for rainfall within the next 24 hours. St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney for sure. Euro showing up to 0.34 of an inch of rainfall in the yellows. The GFS showing a bit more, all the way up into 0.55 of an inch of rainfall in the oranges for the same spots, northern Jamaica in general. So look out for that rainfall, and we're indeed grateful that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. We're in the month of October. It's the wettest month of the year for Jamaica. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to almost 200 millimeters. That's 170 millimeters of rainfall. That's almost 7 inches of rainfall, if I'm not mistaken. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom. We usually receive up to 8.5 inches of rainfall for October. That's 212 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you live in St. Thomas, if you live in St. Catherine, Manchester, Clarendon, and you'd like to know what your rainfall looks like throughout the year or for the month of October, you can visit weatherandclimate.com to find out that information, and you can use this nice little graphic right here that does the rainfall calculations that we receive on the rain gauge. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have that moist southeasterly flow coming into portions of the eastern to the central Caribbean. You can definitely see all the moisture associated with the troughs coming into portions of the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, sections of Hispaniola still getting in on some amount of rainfall as we speak. Lots of moisture associated with that tropical wave coming into portions of the eastern Caribbean even as we speak. The Windward Islands definitely getting plagued. Even sections of Central America still getting in on some amount of wet weather. Belize, Guatemala, section of Honduras, Nicaragua, as well as El Salvador getting in on some amount of moisture. And if we take a look at what's happening across the northeastern Caribbean in terms of rainfall, definitely a wet day today is what they experience. Let me see if I can find it back. Alright, so they definitely gotten a some amount of rainfall today across the northeastern Caribbean. You can see the moisture. Look at all of this rainfall. That's as of right now, 7:25 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So this is as of the latest Doppler radar image that came out 9 minutes ago. We can definitely see that portion of southern Puerto Rico definitely getting in on some rainfall as we speak. The waters between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, even section of the eastern portion of the Dominican Republic getting in on some rainfall right now. Section of the US Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, rainfall to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, some isolated shores across Guadeloupe. And if we load these images from earlier today, we can see that even as of 1:55 p.m., that moist southeasterly flow was bringing rainfall to portions of Puerto Rico, sections of the waters in and around the British Virgin Islands for sure. And if we take a look at what's happening on the Barbados radar, not seeing much happening across Barbados right now, not seeing much happening across Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, or St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now. But we do see some rainfall right there to the northeast of Barbados pushing westward. You can also make out some rainfall across portion of Trinidad and some rainfall to the west of there as well as to the east of there associated with what's to come tomorrow regarding that tropical wave. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can make out some amount of rainfall across portion of northeastern and northwestern Venezuela, Colombia as well, section of Honduras, Belize, northern Guatemala, the Yucatan Peninsula still getting on some amount of isolated or hit or miss showers. And if we take a look at the very latest rainfall forecast, this is showing all the rainfall that's expected within the next 24 hours. The Euro and the GFS definitely in consensus. That's sections of Cuba, section of the Bahamas associated with Oscar, definitely going to be picking up the most rainfall, as we see the purples and the pinks that we can see by the key on the right that represents anywhere from 3 all the way up to 4 inches of rainfall. We see more greens, yellows, oranges, slight reds that represent anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to an inch of rainfall for portions of Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls. Also, some rainfall for portion of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados. Scrolling down, we can also see some rainfall for both the Euro and the GFS malls. For sections of Guyana, don't see that consensus for Suriname right here on the GFS or French Guyana, but definitely the consensus is on for portions of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize getting in on the mix as well. And we even see some isolated shores across portions of southeastern Florida too. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.